Welcome to Cinema Gulp. This is John.
And this is Ben. And this is our Gulp review of...
Us!
M. Night Shyamalan should be proud that a story he probably threw away 10 years ago when the last of his audience disappeared finally got made. Jordan Peele's sophomore effort is as sure of itself as I'm sure Jim Carrey is secretly the lead singer of Muse.
It's nice to see a filmmaker come along that is consistent, because I'll say that about Jordan Peele. My opinion of him, he's consistently making crap movies. I have the same issues with this movie that I had with Get Out, which is a far better film in my opinion. Both films had tonal issues in my opinion. I think that there's a mixture of humor and horror that does not work in either of these films, but much less so in Us. The humor was groan-inducing. It had me rolling my eyes.
Hardly was any.
Almost every time the father character speaks just had me groaning. It was terrible. I thought the writing was horrible. I mean, this guy just won an Oscar for Get Out. The overall concept is just too far-fetched, so unbelievable. I just could not get behind what was supposed to be going on in this film, and by the end, it made very little sense to me. So I was not a fan of this movie.
I agree with you on so many points. I'm a little tiny bit higher on it. That's not to say I'm high on it. It's a big disappointment for me because I'm a huge fan of Get Out. I thought that was interesting, and I thought it was creative and original and smart. And aside from him carrying over some of that good direction and style, which I did find, I thought he was very effective in some of the eerie tension and some of the setup and the build-up. But John's right. It's just such a ludicrous, ridiculous premise that, and I'm going to be making this comparison a lot, if this was an M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out 10 years ago, he would be fucking scrutinized and just completely annihilated critically for making this movie. Somehow Jordan Peele gets a pass. And I just want to say this to any other critic that's reviewing this movie, just relax about the importance of it and what he's trying to say in the themes. He's fucking making a horror movie. It's not that rich. It's not that layered. He's not saying as much as you think he is. You all look ridiculous when you're breaking this down like it's fucking Shakespeare. I thought Lupita Nyong'o was incredible. She really blew me away. She was my favorite thing about this film, was her dual role acting. She was great as both. I just think she's extraordinary. I love everything she does. The kids were pretty good.
The daughter, I thought, was a little bit more effective, especially in her dual role. She was very creepy.
Oh yeah.
And I have to agree with you. Lupita was the standout from the cast. She was excellent in the film. I didn't feel what was going on inside. It's all external for Lupita.
It's all external, yeah. The movie doesn't, the writing doesn't give her that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The eerie performance and the creepiness of the doppelganger role certainly stands out and is, very effective and very creepy in that role. But as the normal character, I didn't get a sense of really who she was enough, and there weren't enough moments to let the drama come through in her performance.
The writing was so lazy to me. That was my biggest disappointment. It was lazy, and the story, I don't care what you say, it doesn't make any sense. And if you want to come at me with plot holes don't matter, tell me when they do matter and when they don't matter, because sometimes people, all they do is destroy a movie for its plot holes, and sometimes they let them get away with tons. And this one has a laundry list of plot holes that it's just okay for some reason that they're not. That's not what he's trying to say. It's like, well, you still have to make a movie that makes some kind of sense.
Well, and I think plot holes can kill a film, certainly, but a plot hole can be overlooked. An overall concept for the entire film that makes zero sense when it's all said and done, no, that's not acceptable in my opinion.
Well, it's okay though, John, because he was talking about the human condition and whether or not we
just have to read into it a little bit more.
The first thought that ran through my head when I was walking out of the theater was, man, this movie enjoyed blowing itself, because it feels pretentious. That's one word I haven't said yet. It has a certain level of pretentiousness to it. It's so in love with itself, right? Like from the beginning, like right off the bat, like, hey, look at my first shot. Pick out how many symbols you see in this shot that are going to be used later as foreshadowing.
Yeah. When you talked about his direction, I didn't find many elements of this film that I liked from his directorial stamp in this film. I didn't find the horror effective. There was no moments that had me on the edge of my seat in terms of the thrills or the excitement.
Not as much as I was hoping, as I thought was going to be there.
His attempt to sometimes have humor in the film diffuses some of the thrills and the frights. And even the way that the doppelgangers move from some of the earliest scenes where they're supposed to be creepy and we have kind of this home invasion situation going on, very quickly, the fear was diffused in that scene for a number of reasons. We can't go into all the detail, but part of it is the way that they moved. Another part is just actually what they do when they, come face to face with these doppelgangers in this family. There are just so many decisions in that moment that were stupid decisions on both sides by the family you're following and the doppelganger family. I did not like any of these decisions going on in kind of that big scene.
And who else do we know of who had a long stretch of his career where he just botched these great ideas? There's so many parallels forming right now in my head between Peele and M. Night Shyamalan. I could do a whole fucking video about it. This guy's only done 2 movies, but both of them, and guess what? People are proclaiming Jordan Peele now that they did in 2000 to M. Night Shyamalan.
The next Spielberg.
Be careful when someone proclaims you as the next Spielberg. It just might derail your career. Anyway,
But with your M. Night comparison, you had The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable and a follow-up with Signs, one of his best films, before he started to lose it. So that's 3 really strong films in my opinion.
Agreed.
This guy's got 1 pretty good film, 1 terrible film. Coming out of Get Out and even going through a whole year of that film leading up to the Oscars and just getting acclaim and getting talked about, I came around a little bit on the movie. I liked it a little bit more than my initial viewing on it, but I still never fell in love with the movie. But it did get me excited enough to want to see this Us, to be like, this is going to be something interesting. At least he does original work. At least we get to see something original. Let's see what it is. And I was so let down by this movie. I just thought it was terrible. I wanted out of the theater.
At least now we know that he will either do the next Star Wars or the next Marvel movie. Having now seen it a few days ago and really processing it, it just got even worse. When I walked out of the theater, I was disappointed, and I think now, having reflected on it more, I'm just more disappointed, and I just wanted like a great classic original horror movie, and because it just derails itself by the writing so bad, it's such a poorly... The elevator pitch was probably fucking amazing. It's probably making people jizz all over the elevator. And once they got into storyboards and like the drawing board of like, where does this go? I think that's... Someone had to have been like, I don't know, that's kind of stretching it, don't you think? But
Get Out made $150 million, sir.
No, well, yeah, I'm sure at this point he's surrounded by yes men.
Yeah,
which is a better movie than this. I'm gonna go ahead and give Us 4.75.
I got very little out of this movie. I didn't go in with the highest of hopes, other than just, hey, this Jordan Peele, everybody else says he's amazing. Get Out didn't work for me, but there was things to like about it. So I went in with some high hopes, but not like, this is a filmmaker that I love, so I know I'm going to get something good. So there's a disappointment for me, but not like on the highest level. But I just wish the movie was so much more effective. Sure, the concept is stupid and terrible, but if there was some effective scares in the movie, I could at least have enjoyed the ride. But I was not enjoying the ride at all. It did not work for me as a horror movie. It made me groan in every moment that was supposed to be humorous. This movie sucked, and I'm giving it a 2.
Ooh. My favorite part of symbolism is when this guy walks up to the American flag and wipes his ass with it. That was our review of Us. As always, thank you for watching. Please click like and or subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell as well. John, where can they find us?
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you tether yourselves to Cinema Gulp right away. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now.
Until next time, I'm Ben.
And I'm John, and this is us untethering ourselves from the masses.
You pigs.
The sheep, the pigs.
We drink your cinema.
I drink it up!
You give me bad vibes, bad times, bad nights with you. Yeah, I get bad energy, sick pleasure from you. You think it's cooler to have dark thoughts, never eat ice cream, only take white drugs. In a circle of people without any reason to love, you're a god. I've been screaming a lot.